Namaste, Soul Circle. I'm Candice.
I'm Steven.
And we're from Arcana, Mind, Body, Spirit here in Toronto, Canada.
And today we are going to be taking all of the information that we've done for the last 8 weeks on our different elemental guardians, on the vertical guardians, and we'll be integrating that information into how to set sacred space anytime you're raising energy, whether it's for high ceremony, for any divination, or even just daily meditation. I'm excited for this.
Me too. It's one of my favorite things, so
let's go for it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so why do we set sacred space? We do this in order to create a tight container for any energy work. Whether it's for opening up or healing or raising energy towards manifestation, we want to make sure we have only the highest vibrations and frequencies close to us so that we are in a space for creation.
Mm-hmm. We also do this to acknowledge and honor the guides and guardians of the different energies that can help us achieve what we are trying to accomplish in circle. There are 4 steps in setting a sacred space. 1, preparation. So ask yourself, what is the purpose of your work? What are you trying to achieve? Are you pulling cards for a friend, or are you working on some self-love and trying to center yourself before you get your day started?
Are you showing gratitude before you go to bed? Or are you maybe beginning a new moon or a full moon practice? Or maybe you're entering high ceremony for a different holiday over the course of the wheel of the year.
Okay, so like for example, if you get home from a difficult day at work or wherever you were, and you need some clarity and a moment of self-love, perhaps you're not going to spend 40 minutes preparing a ceremony and calling the corners. Instead, you can do something that's more realistic to the realities of your life in that moment. Think of it more as a mindfulness practice and tailor it to your individual needs.
And depending on your desired outcome from your work, you might just want to have a quick and easy corner call. Mm-hmm. Or if you're doing deep inner work, you might want to have some extra layers of correspondence. Your goal is to have the tightest container possible, which is most relevant for your work. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Next, we need to choose when and where is the appropriate time and place for your work.
You want to make sure you're comfortable. So you want to avoid all interruptions. That includes getting up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Try to do that before you start, especially if you're going to lock in for a solid 40 minutes.
All right. We also have to consider when. So it might sound simple. If you're doing a full moon, do it on the full moon. Yeah. If you're celebrating Yule, try and do it on Yule. There's a window of time which is called liminal space. And it's important that if you're trying to use the energies of that moon cycle or that Sabbath, that your practice takes place as close to the time as possible. And remember, this is for the betterment of your life. So enjoy the process. Acknowledge that you are doing this for yourself. So eliminate distractions, turn off your phones, and do your best to open your minds.
So another important aspect to this are tools. Often we will use tools for the directions. Here's the most commonly used for each direction. You have incense or a feather for air. You have a cauldron or a candle for fire, a shell or a water dish for water, and soil or a plant or crystals for earth. There's plenty of other options, and we also encourage you to use the tools that resonate with you the most. If you're choosing to do this with a friend or a partner or even kids, make sure they're invested in what you're doing. There's no point in dropping in if someone is feeling uncomfortable or not paying attention in the space you're setting. They're like giggling and stuff. No.
Okay, so now we've done all this preparation. It's time for stage 2, which is opening the circle. Now, there are 2 different thought processes on this, and depending what time of year or your training or what kind of work you're doing, you can choose which one is going to resonate best with you. Mm-hmm. Now, usually the rule is if you're working with energy, then you are going to have to raise energy. Often what we'll do in our practice is we'll walk 3 times in a circle, and quite often to raise our energy, we're going to dance.
Yeah, 100%.
And this goes back to that stereotypical image of, the witches dancing around the bonfire and celebration and reverence.
Naked.
Right? By raising your energy, we absorb the energy around us and create a warm body to do the work.
Now, the direction you walk is important too. The sun rises in the east, so begin with the guardians of the east and move sunwise through south to west and finally north.
Now, speaking of sunwise, a lot of pagan traditions and Wiccan traditions, they actually refer to this as Deosil or Widdershins. Mm-hmm. So if you're walking Deosil, it means sunwise, and Widdershins means you're going moonwise or counterclockwise. Now, generally, if you're calling things in, you always want to go sunwise, and when you are pushing things out or banishing, you want to go moonwise. So keep that in mind when you are either opening your circle or closing your circle.
If you're someone who enjoys working with tools, walk your circle with a selenite wand. This is the traditional crystal used to open circles because it honors Selene, the moon goddess. Mm-hmm. And like the moon, we create a glowing circle of energy.
In our training, again, we do everything by the rule of 3. Now, the rule of 3 you can find in all forms of nature and ceremony and practice. A lot of the times it's the maiden mother crone. It is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The upper world, the lower world, there's so many examples of the rule of 3. Even in modern day, like comedy situations and things like that.
3 guys in a bar.
Yeah, 3 guys in a bar. Usually it takes 3 to get the greatest impact. And that actually just comes down to hermetics and things like that. So in order to raise energy, the rule of 3 should be observed in your ceremony.
All right, so you've prepared, you've walked your circle, and now it's number 3, thresholding. A cold body can listen, but you need the spark of creation inside of you to truly manifest.
Now, what we're referring to when we say thresholding is you saying, my body is now ready to do the work. And this comes down to physics and not just metaphysics. All humans have a toroidal field of energy, and that shape is actually called a tube torus. It kind of looks like a big energetic donut that goes all the way from the top and around the bottom. And energy workers, healers, Reiki workers, crystal masters, acupuncture, a lot of traditional Chinese medicine workers who work with qi lines and key lines, we all use this toroidal field of energy in all of our practices in order to get you to your highest body space ready for work.
By thresholding, we raise the energy in that field. When you raise your energy, you expose your energy. This is why it's important to walk the circle first so that you're in a safe space.
Yes.
Now, there are a million ways to do this, and it's all at your fingertips on Google.
Now, our chosen threshold practice is what we call an iao. This is actually something that was taught to me by my grandmother when I was just a kid. And as an adult, yes, it is practiced for ceremony and for meditation. But as an adult, I've even found myself using it to calm down when I'm stressed out, getting back to a more grounded state. So I encourage you to teach this even to your littles as they grow up and use this. It's a really great way to connect to who you are, no matter where you are, because it doesn't take too long.
Yeah, the magic of breath work.
So what is an iao? E represents your upper spaces. This is your crown chakra, your third eye into your throat. Your A represents your middle chakras. So again, that's your throat, your heart, and your solar plexus. And your O starts at your solar plexus through your sacral down to your root. And by resonating through iao, you are setting up your whole central channel of energy in a receptive position to do the work.
Again, it has correspondence to the rule of 3. And usually we'll do this short practice 3 times before we move on, depending on what our goal of ceremony is. Yeah. So inhale and push out E until you have no air. Same for A, and same for O. It's not about sounding pretty. It's about taking in the energy of the space we just opened and releasing what's inside of you before starting the work. So there are also arm movements that we accompany this with. So on the inhale, we'll raise our arms up, and on the exhale, we raise our arms down. Again, this isn't meant to be pretty. This is just to get you to release and embody the moment. Let your body pitch forward, shake it out, especially during the first 2. Maybe by the third, you should feel more grounded, empowered, and stable. When you finish, your body should be ready for the next step, which is
the directions. Again, now based on the work that you're doing, you are going to want to adapt this appropriately. Over the course of January, we gave you all of the corner calls for the 4 sacred elements. And then for February, we gave you call-ins for the vertical guides, which are mostly used for high ceremonies or for sabbaths. Now, let's say you're doing moon work. you may just want to call in the 4 sacred directions and not use the vertical guides. And maybe if you're just pulling cards or you're just entering someone's field to do some healing, you might just want to do a very short opening or honoring that could be done even using a crystal grid or something as that. Now, let's say you don't have a lot of time. This Friday, we're actually going to be releasing our audio that is going to be how to set up your sacred space in about 30 seconds or less. This is for on-the-spot immediate work when you don't have time to enter into high ceremony. We use this a lot of the time. It's very practical for us because a lot of the time you'll be out for coffee with your friends or having a drink and people want some work right on the spot and you have to use the tools you have with you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a single mom. So sometimes I need to do the work, but I'm tired. It's the end of the day. I just need to get a little quick one in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So make sure on Friday you check that out because it's actually a very practical incantation you can use when you need it.
All right. So I think that wraps up everything.
Yeah. So as a quick review, we have our 4 steps. Number 1 was our preparation. Mm-hmm. Number 2, we were walking our circle. Number 3, we were thresholding, getting our energy nice and raised. And then number 4, we had calling in our guides and guardians. Now, it is important to remember this was how to open. And at the end of ceremony, you always want to undo this. You want to thank the guides and guardians, and you want to go in the reverse order from which you started. And then depending how you opened or closed circle, you want to make sure you do it in the opposite direction, going moonwise, like we said, or widdershins, if you follow that tradition. Now, before we go, we're very excited about this. One of the products that Arcana is going to be offering you is a virtual online purchase, and it's going to be an MP3 that you download immediately. And on it, we're going to have our corner call from start to finish. So if you are looking to enter sacred space and you're not quite sure how to do it on your own yet, what you'll have to do is just press play on your device and follow along. We will do each direction in the order that we have. And there's actually moments in between in order to reflect and turn to the next direction and get any messages throughout.
This is really great. It takes off the pressure as well when you're reading. So this is a great way for everyone just to drop in and just move through it really smoothly.
And then that way, at the end of this MP3, you are able to start your work. We're so excited to have you here, and make sure on Friday again that you check out our video. And if you can, please like and subscribe. It always helps us out. And then that way you can hit that little bell and see anytime we release new content. I think we're good to go.
We're good to go.
All right. Namaste, Soul Circle.
Much love.